What's up, guys? Anthony Esposito with eXp Realty. Today I'm putting real estate to the side. I'm going to get a little bit vulnerable, and the hope is to, help someone else or inspire someone else. So at 9 years old, I lost my sister in a car accident that we were in, and I truly thought and felt that I was completely broken. Like I never really healed from that, not fully, not until recently. And I want to bring this up and do this video after I thought long about it, just to, put this out there for others, with it being June and Men's Mental Health Awareness, because I am the typical old school kind of guy where, it's the quit your bitching, suck it up, and my response to a lot of things in life. Somebody asks me if I'm okay, and I say, I'm fine, I'm good, don't worry about it. That needed to change. So until recently, I had a battle for the majority of my life. Again, 9 years old, lost my sister. We were driving up to Canada to get my grandma like we did every summer, and on our way back, we ended up getting involved in a bad car accident. And that completely changed myself. It changed my sibling, even siblings. Now that I have even a younger sister, I was the youngest at the time. It completely changed my parents, aunts, uncles, you name it. It affected everybody. My state of depression, I shut down. I wanted nothing to do with the world. There was a point in time in my life where I didn't even want to live anymore for a long time. I wanted nothing to do with it. Didn't even care if I would have died and just gone away. I just wanted to see my sister again. So the way I handled it was I shut down, kept to myself, and I just ate food. Didn't want to go outside and play anymore. I had my own injuries from it, and I ended up putting on a lot of weight during that depression. It lasted about 6 years. So from 9 to 15, I was in this deep state of depression. And after many years of, getting picked on for being the fat kid in school, getting picked on because the scar that's on my face, that wasn't from the accident. I was born with a couple tumors. I finally said enough is enough. I'm not sure what switch flipped, but I was like, I need to get out of this. Something was telling me that I needed to push through. I firmly believe that it was my sister that was kind of speaking to me in a sense. So I went to my mom and I was like, hey, help me. Like, how do I start losing weight? And she was very straightforward with me. She was like, cut out the junk food, stop drinking a bunch of pop, drink more water. That's a start. So I did. Cold turkey on a lot of stuff. 15 years old, I didn't drink pop for a few years. Didn't have ice cream, I think, for 3 or 4 years. A lot of the junk food that I was eating, didn't touch it. Still to this day, I'll indulge every now and then, but it's very rare that I touch it. And about a year after starting to lose some weight, me and my buddy, we started hitting the weights. And that was an escape for me from reality. I put a lot of anger into lifting the weights. I also play guitar. I did start playing guitar at 12, which that was also an escape, but it wasn't like a fix. It helped, but it wasn't allowing me to truly get out my anger. The weights were letting me get out my anger, but it was always there. It just kind of weakened or suppressed, and then it would build back up, and then suppress and build back up. So I went through many years of, getting healthy, lifting weights, and I was putting on a fake smile. I'm sure some of you or someone you may know is in this situation where they are functioning with depression. I've done that up until a couple years ago, where I was putting on a mask. Everyone always knew me as the happy-go-lucky, funny, joking guy that was out there. And it was half true. And the other half of it was faked. I didn't realize how much the trauma that I went through at a young age was actually affecting my mindset personally, affecting my personal relationships, my relationships with my family, my relationships with my friends. And there was a few times in my life where, I spiraled out of control. I was able to come out of it. I can't explain how or why, but I just kept having like these wake-up calls. So for a long time, it's been, I'm fine. I'm okay. Haha. And that's not, it wasn't me. It wasn't the real me. I always felt that I needed to be this person, not this person. And the big shift that finally happened, it wasn't, having kids. That I was still wearing a mask, happy-go-lucky. I was very happy to have them and the memories that I have with them and still have with and continue to make with them. But I was still hiding in plain sight. And it was one of those situations where it was to name a couple people that we all know, Robin Williams, Chester Bennington. Those are the two that come to mind right off of the rip. And I knew at a young age, I was getting close to that point. And I never got close to that point again, but I was still pretty much down and out. Up until, I'll never forget the date, December 27th, 2023, where I thought I was going to die. I lied in a hospital bed, pleading for my life. And all I could think about was I told my kids good night and I love them. And that was going to be the last time. And I also thought to myself, I lied to them because I said I'll see them in the morning. And the reason why I felt like my life was ending was I was at the gym doing my normal routine. It was at the very end of it, got through my workout, was feeling off for the last 20 minutes of it or so, but Harvey hard ass in me, just keep pushing through, suck it up, the whole stop being a bitch mentality. And I kept pushing myself through it. Well, at the end of it, I got really dizzy and just kind of felt off. So kind of dropped down to a knee and was taking a few breathers. And then it passed. Got up, a friend of mine was there. And, I'm kind of talking through all this. And it was just a weird feeling. And for it to go away and then feel normal. And thinking I was going to be all right. And then I got hit again. Instant sweats. Instant chest pressure. Hard to breathe. Instant pain in my arm. 100% thought I was having a heart attack. The exact same symptoms. I am not one that sits there and says, I need to go to the hospital, get fixed, whatever. I push through it. If I don't gotta go to the hospital, I'm not going to the hospital. Plain and simple. Still to this day, even after I've gone through my journey and continue to go through it, I immediately asked for my friend to call 911. I was like, you gotta call them. Something's not right. I think I'm having a heart attack. So I lied there and breathing heavy, having a hard time, panicking even more, to a point where after what felt like forever, It eventually went away, and I actually got angry because EMS, it felt like it would have taken forever, and it may have only been a couple minutes, I don't know. So I just got up and I'm like, well, I'm gonna just drive myself, forget this, I'm not waiting. And as I'm walking out, the EMS pulls up and they kind of gave a look, and I'm like, yeah, you're here for me. And they're like, what? So for that long story short, it ended up being a massive panic attack. My body went into reset. And it went into reset because of two reasons. One is the many years of being depressed, not feeling like a real person, not feeling like me, feeling lost. Like I was always missing something and always trying to live up to this superior standard and not be me, not fully heal. And the second reason was 6 months prior to this panic attack. Just had the 2-year anniversary. My uncle, who was like a second father to me, he passed away. And that really started a downward slide, even further than what I already was. There was issues in my relationship. I'm not going to get into those, but there was issues in the relationship. Everybody always has that stuff come up. It happens. And then everything else that I was dealing with internally on my own and trying to pretend like it was okay. Losing my uncle hit me even worse. So that restart kind of happened. And because of that feeling of, holy shit, I'm about to die, and everything that I was going through, it was another wake-up call where I knew it was time for me to swallow my pride, stop having the mentality of, suck it up, don't be a bitch kind of attitude, and say, I need help. I knew I needed to do it for my kids and my family, but I also knew ultimately that it needed to be done for me, because it was affecting every aspect of my life. And I just kept pretending that it wasn't. So I dove deep into mindset, books and readings, started listening a lot to Tony Robbins. There's other people that I know that, were helping with, that mindset kind of mentality, but I also reached out and found a therapist and started going through therapy, which I am currently still doing. And all of this kind of opened things up. It changed who I am. It created this newer version of me. So now I can be, truly happy. When I say like I'm good, I really mean I'm good, where I'm not hiding behind that mask anymore. And I continue to keep growing on a daily basis. I still continue to learn more about mindset stuff. I've gotten, I've done meditation. I've gotten into doing yoga on occasion, different aspects, different trainings. My panic attacks, I said, I do not want any type of pharmaceutical. I'm going to figure this out on my own. And I could tell you that it is possible, if you are suffering from them, to do these on your own. You just got to learn what works for you. You got to learn how to focus on your breathing and kind of calm yourself down. And for me, it's, I'm 40 years old, and I'll call my mom, start talking with my mom. She kind of helps calm stuff down. Or I start playing like a video game or something. I do something to distract me from it while focusing on my breathing. Other people I know, it requires like, a cold shower or like ice to kind of get them out of that. I've even heard stories of Vicks Vapor Rub. Smelling that kind of like takes people out of it. So if that helps you, hopefully it does. But it's been a journey. And ultimately, I wanted to do this video and set aside the real estate aspect this time around to hopefully just help inspire others other guys that are like me, where it's, the I'm not a bitch, or I'm not gonna, do this or do that, or I'm weak. You're not weak. You're not. It takes more strength to admit that you're struggling and that you're having issues, whatever your case may be. Those were my issues. You may have something that's worse. You may have something that's less. It does not mean that it doesn't matter, because ultimately you matter. I matter. There's loved ones that we have that we matter to them. So I hope you at least enjoyed this a little bit. Hopefully it gave you kind of a sense that it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to ask for help and, put yourself out there, and get help to correct stuff. So hopefully I either inspired you, or, you can show this to someone that who is struggling, whatever the case is, because there are tons of you that are struggling within. And just know that you don't have to. It's okay. It's going to be all right. You just have to swallow your pride sometimes and know that it is not a weakness. It is 1000% a strength. And I promise you, if you go down the rabbit hole of mindset learning, listening to people like Tony Robbins, and even going to speak to a therapist about your situation. And it may take, a couple to go through. You got to find one that fits you. You will become a better person, and you can start enjoying life to the fullest instead of hiding behind a mask like I did for 29 years of my life.